Well, I think it's very important that American policymakers wake up to what's happening in Venezuela. We still get about 10% of our oil from that country. And the fact is that Chavez's health could bring about chaos in that country because of a transition versus a succession scenario. Chavez and his supporters are not being honest with the Venezuelan people. The fact is his days are numbered. His doctors have told him he has about a 50% chance of living 18 months. That means that there will be chaos in that country unless there is an opportunity for the Venezuelan people to be heard about the future of their country. What the Chavez's followers are trying to do is to impose his brother as a successor. And they're prepared to do whatever they have to do to make that happen. That includes perhaps even moving the elections up as much as a year to catch the opposition off guard so that they can impose Adán Chavez as an elected leader in elections that are essentially unfair. In the next couple of months, Chavez is going to be out of the country for medical care. And it's an opportunity then for the opposition to have a serious, sober, constructive discussion with the Venezuelan people about the future of the country. The Chavistas want that conversation to be about Chavismo without Chavez. What they have to turn that conversation into, what the Venezuelan people have to reflect about, is Venezuela without Chavismo. That requires leadership now, that requires unity, that requires a coherent, constructive message, and it requires that the Democrats of the country reach out to people from all walks of life, including the very poor, who are part of Chavez's base, to say we can govern this country with the Venezuelan people, and we can do so in a constructive way, with positive agenda to recapture the sovereignty of their country, to restore democratic institutions, to make the streets of Venezuela safe to walk, to build a prosperous, stable country so that they can offer that to their children. That's a debate that has to be happening right now, and the Venezuelan opposition has to take advantage of that opportunity. If they do that, perhaps they will be proposing an alternative vision, not only for the Venezuelan people, but for policymakers here in the United States, who are essentially asleep about what's happening in Venezuela. If Chavez tries to impose a successor in that country, if they try to advance elections or try to hold unfair elections or try to deny the opposition a voice about the future of the country, that could sow chaos. 10% of the oil that the United States imports comes from Venezuela, and it's extraordinarily important to us then to have a plan, to be prepared to deal with a scenario of transition, genuine, sustainable transition, and not to accept a succession from one dictator to his older brother. That's really what's at stake in Venezuela today. That's the conversation we should be having.